And there is the president exiting Air Force One.
There he is, waving to everybody, of course, on the ground, waiting for him.
Looks like Congressman Cedric Richmond exiting Air Force One with him as well, to meet the others on the ground, Mitch Landrieu, Bobby Jindal, and Bill Cassidy.
That also looks like Edwin Murray with him as well. We'll hope to get a better view of that, and hopefully Gina can fill us in on that.
Quickly blocked by the presidential limousine, but we know he's greeting and visiting with Mayor Landrieu, Bill Cassidy, Bobby Jindal, Cedric Richmond, and a couple of other people we were not able to identify before they were obscured from our view.
So of course they'll get into the presidential limousine and they will immediately get on the interstate and head to places, specifically the Sanchez Center and the 9th Ward that is on Catherine Street. And as we've told you, if you know people who are traveling or if you're about to hit the road, just expect delays. You know what this process is. The roads will be blocked off. There will be slow-moving traffic. There will be police escorts for the president and the other elected officials that are with him. And then, of course, he'll arrive at the Sanchez Center to have a roundtable discussion and then meet with a lot of neighbors, people who live in this area. They'll talk about recovery. Again, that word we keep saying, resilience, which we all know too well in this area.
This presidential limousine, we talk so much about Air Force One and how well equipped and technologically advanced it is, but this limousine is almost like a rolling White House unto itself. It's hardened against any sort of attacks that could happen while the president's on the ground anywhere in the world. The tires on there are bulletproof. You can actually repel bullets. The glass is extremely thick, and it's got its own air filtration system inside of that limousine. So it really is not your typical limousine. It gets horrible fuel mileage, miles per gallon, because it's so big and so heavy. I think it's something like 8 or 9, 10 miles per gallon that gets. But fuel mileage isn't of the president's concern while he's on the ground. It's his safety. And here in New Orleans, I'm sure that limousine can handle our streets as well. Without a problem.
Oh, yes, no matter what. Okay, now we see some movement as the president is now walking over, probably to meet and greet with some of the people who've come to see his arrival.
With Secret Service agents in tow all around. And everybody who's at the airport on the ground right now has been heavily vetted and put through numerous layers of security before they're able to get to this point at Armstrong International.
Oh, talk about a process. I mean, they really go through it. They background checks and all.
Our crew wasn't even up and live, ready to go on the air until about a minute before we took Gina live. They were going through metal detectors and being wanded and going through the whole protocol. You can see still, despite all that, 3 people on either side of the president in his front and his back.
And really just a nice gesture for the president to go over and talk to people who are anxiously waiting to hear what he has to say and what he has to say about our recovery 10 years later. Post-Katrina, of course, he's touted what his administration has done to help our area, pouring billions of dollars into our area, into the recovery, into the rebuilding. Of course, he'll be with Craig Fugate from FEMA, and they will address a roundtable discussion. They will continue to discuss issues surrounding our community. They will talk about us, people who live here, people who have decided to make this home and stay here and not go away. There'll also be talk, I would imagine, about people who are still not able to come home, organizations or agencies rather, like the Road Home program, still operating to this day to help get people home, to make sure they get the money they need, to make sure that they are able to rebuild and come home. If you recall, there were many roadblocks for people trying to get home, i.e. Chinese drywall, contractor fraud, things of that nature that have kept people away and had kept them away for a very long time, many, many years. Even still, we're seeing people 10 years later still attempting to come home, still trying to come home. It is very nice to see here our Commander-in-Chief on the ground shaking hands with the people who make this area in our region what it is.
Some of the other people who are here this week, aside from the president's visit, his office was sure to point out that U.S. Department of Education officials are in the area as well this week. Also, Wendy Spencer, who's the CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service, which administers AmeriCorps, is in Mississippi communities and Baton Rouge and New Orleans this week. Also, Sean Donovan, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, is touring the Louisiana coast and being briefed on protection and restoration projects. And officials from the Small Business Administration, which of course has supported the recovery of small and medium-sized businesses, are here to talk about preparedness efforts with small businesses and the lessons learned from Katrina and over the past 10 years.
And the president giving a final wave, a good goodbye to the people there. And we can see him now along with the mayor and other people there with him getting into the presidential limousine, and they're off. We can imagine they're going to go on I-10 and make their way to the Sanchez Center. We're assuming that's their first stop.
Maybe Popeyes, if he's hungry.
Or Dookie Chase, because he does often frequent there to get his gumbo.
That's true. That's true.
Last time he was here, too, he stopped in Parkway Bakery and got him a po' boy. So
we have a lot to offer here. If he does get hungry, it is around noontime. So I imagine in this situation, though, his food will be brought to him as he traverses from here to the 9th Ward. And again, as we've mentioned, we'll be at the Sanchez Center, which is an incredible facility, state-of-the-art, across the board, wall to wall, floor to ceiling. It really is a great place that means a lot to that community and offers so much for the people of that community, a place where they can go and they can swim and they can relax and they do other things that are so important to filling time during the summer especially.
Well, let's talk about that center for a minute. It was FEMA funded. A lot of CBDG grants went into there. The insurance and city bonds went into help building that facility. Of course, it was completely destroyed during the flooding. It includes an indoor pool. That's a full 25-meter pool. That's regulation size. It also has a basketball court there, a performance stage, commercial kitchen, an exercise and dance room. There's a senior center there at the Sanchez Center, a computer lab. There are music and arts classrooms, and the president will be there at that center along with people in the lower 9th Ward to talk about recovery and how things have been going 10 years.
Our coverage, this type of coverage right here, will bookend the president's visit. We got his landing at Armstrong. We're going to cover what he does throughout the day. We're going to have his speech on WDSU News at 4 o'clock when he talks to the media and to the nation. This will be carried all over on the cable networks and everything else. And then we'll have his departure from Armstrong International as well here on WDSU. And you can catch up with everything online at WDSU.com. The president is just about out of our view as his motorcade, which typically travels ahead of him and is unloaded ahead of him, makes its way out of here. Air Force One carries the president and the White House press pool and all the important dignitaries that are making the trip with him. Then a different plane carries all the vehicles that you see meet him, including the presidential limousine right there at the bottom of the stairs that lead down from Air Force One. You know, 4,000 square feet of space on Air Force One.
I was just about to say, you look at the plane and you don't imagine what we're looking at here. It's a huge vessel.
Much bigger than we think by looking at it. It's 3 levels. It's got a suite for the president that has an office, a huge office, a conference room, a restroom, and numerous other amenities that you can imagine the president of the United States would have.